Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 1 of season 2 of King Penny's podcast, man. Hey, we made it through season 1. Hey, thank you for all the guests that showed up, man, and did their thing, man. I appreciate you very much. But as everything, things move forward, man. Hey, I do have a shirt, so don't just think I'm in here winging it or whatever like that, man. But it's super hot outside. Been outside all morning, so we're going to let this thing air out just a little bit, hey, man. But we have a special guest, man. I wanted to tell you all about him and hear what he has to say, man. Hey, welcome, my man. Let me get your name and where you're from.
Roger Denardi, and I'm from Longmont here in Colorado.
Okay, originally or from somewhere else?
No, I moved around a lot as a kid between Maine, Northeast, and Midwest, Wisconsin. Moved around in between the states and back and forth a lot.
That's crazy. No accent, huh?
Did my best.
He said he dropped that thing. All right, but now you're here in Longmont, man. Welcome. You know what I mean? Welcome to the city and stuff like that. So what is it that you do?
Right now, I'm doing the gig economy thing and working on an album. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, and that's it. That's my focus.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah.
What kind of album?
Album is, people have been describing it from a lot of different genres, but it's more of a concept album, which is...
So what genre would it fall under, I guess, would be the...
Yeah, a lot of people are comparing it to like a classic rock feel with a lot of that modern sparseness of like an alt-J or kind of like, let's see who else, like a Bowie combined with alt-J. Classic rock combined with this modern soundscape feel, cinematic soundscape feel that seems to be happening from my point of view in music, kind of an indie soundscape, psychedelic, classic rock. It mixes a lot of genres.
Well, you know what I heard it. You didn't like my when I said, hey, it sounds like the back end of a Prince song,
I loved it.
Yeah, look, I was like, you know, like the back end, like after the song was over, how he did like all the instruments and all, you know what I mean? He let it rock out. And I heard it, I was just like, oh, okay, what is this?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I keep getting that crossover. It kind of sounds new, but I get classic rock comparisons and just kind of. Yeah.
He said he take it all as compliment in stride, huh?
Yeah, well, music, it's hard for me to choose because that's not the way I view music. No,
to explain that? No, I want to hear this.
I was raised extremely secluded, and I actually didn't hear any secular music until I was in my late teens to 20 years old. Oh. I only heard like church hymns, nothing with drums at all. So to me, the Beatles and the Chemical Brothers, techno, Black Eyed Peas, like that's all was made at the same time. And to me, it's all genre. If there isn't really, it's just what category you find the at that time the CD in.
Yeah.
So like, I have a really hard time naming the genre because I don't think in genres that way. It's just I got one gigantic spoonful of music. So to me, it's all brand new.
Nah, that's crazy to hear from a musician standpoint because, you know, as a consumer or as, you know what I mean, anybody else, you know, like you have to like kind of lead them to where, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So if I say like, oh, okay, I do country and then I come on and I'm a reggae singer, right. they'll be like lost, like,
right.
Mind blowing.
What are you talking
like,
about?
you know what I mean? So that's why I didn't try to box you in as an artist, but you know what I mean? Like to give people some sort of roadmap as to what you have going on is, you know what I mean? Ideal.
There's always a joke. I'll call the studios to make an appointment, and we actually have this exact same conversation because they go, oh, okay, what kind of music you make, because they want to know who to assign you what room. And even on the phone, we joked. You guys like, oh, here's the list where I give you like 10 artists. And they go, here's the part where you say every genre, because like, you know, we're all egotistical. We don't want to get boxed in. But also, I do have so many influences. I really can't. It's really difficult for me to pick which one. Somebody pick out. You're the first one to do Prince. Recently, I got the Bowie reference, and I was just about, I think I had to go, like, use the bathroom. I was so like, oh my God, thank you. You know, like,
fanned out.
Yeah, can you sign this so I don't sound like a jerk when I tell other people? You know, so.
So when you say influences, right?
Yes.
Who? Let's hear some of these.
I like anything, I've learned that anything authentic is what I love. Like this morning I listened to everything from Indian like raga music on a sitar to, like something that has like some wobbly dubstep bass.
Yeah.
And really I feel like that's kind of what we're moving into musically. Like it's there's something for everyone that I'm playing. There's something for everyone to love. There's something for everyone to hate.
And people gonna let you know.
Yeah,
that's the one thing nowadays. Like, you're gonna hear about it.
And it's like, as a musician, I think people think that we're more talented or more amazing than we are. Like, you'll have a song concept and you have your vocal range and your playability skills for whatever instrument it is, and so you'd be surprised how few choices like there are. Like what kind of lifter are you?
Well, I can classify myself. I'm all out. You know what I mean? Whatever's needed. I'm him. Like, you know what I mean? But that's the ego in me, bro. But that's the ego in me. But
and also it is. It's like you can't.
So let's break this down for me.
Yeah.
Let me wrap my brain around this. How many instruments do you play, or are you functional at per se?
Functional. I was born being able to play the drums. That one.
I'm jealous. Go ahead. I'm jealous. Go ahead.
That's a funny story about that one. Really funny story about that. Yeah. Guitar is where I really learned my musical skill.
Okay.
And really bonded with an instrument.
Favorite guitarist of all time, or is that a tough question for all guitarists?
I was promised I won't rattle on forever about that one. Maybe I will. Favorite guitarist of all time.
So tough. Such a tough question.
All time. Okay, David Gilmour has to be on the list from Pink Floyd.
Okay.
That guy can with so few notes moves you like a symphony. That's just one guitar.
Okay.
That one's way up there. Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin. No one makes you just feel like the volume is on 12, like the end on that Black Dog.
Yeah.
Communication. Use the communication breakdown on 10. I guarantee you cannot follow the speed limit. So that kind of, they bring a feeling. Neil Young, who just feels like he doesn't care about the rhythm or the being exactly on time or not, but you can just hear that his fingers are melting into the strings.
I'm trying to tell you, I love the way you're talking about this, because you hear weightlifters talk about bodybuilders like this.
Okay.
Like, oh my goodness gracious, Arnold this, and Serge Nubret. I the same enthusiasm, man. Yeah. I love it, man. It's contagious. So we got the drums. We got guitar. What is there any other instruments that you?
Yeah, and then I learned. Then I picked up keyboard because I wanted to play keyboard. Okay. I wanted to play in a band when I moved to a town a while ago, and there weren't any. There was a lot of guitarists at the time in that town for some reason. So I told them I could play piano.
And you could. So you just learned it just.
Well,
functional at it.
Yeah. So you just learn the major chords and the minor chords and the seventh chords, and then kind of just cheat the rest of the way through. It's rock and roll, man. It's supposed to be easy. And then bar band, keyboard, and then you just got better after that. So that's how I learned keyboard.
That's crazy.
Well, I really wanted to play.
Yeah, he said he just wanted to be in the band. Huh? He said whatever's needed.
Yeah. So you just go to town and
make it look like you. Oh, okay.
I mean, it's not making it look like there's just. I mean, it's rock and roll, man. It's rock and roll. It's bar band rock and roll.
So what's the drum story?
So the drum story is So again, I was raised super, super strict secular. No drums. The drums were the devil's music. There was awful. Yeah, we won't go into that too bad. But the drums were the devil's music. We went to a birthday party one time, and I was probably I was maybe 10, 11-ish, maybe a little younger. Yeah. And we're at the birthday party, and the kid had a drum set, and I sat down and I went. Boom, boom, boom. Right, and my mother, because where did you learn that? And I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just looking at it, just
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking at my own appendages, like,
Yeah.
I don't know who's doing it. I don't know what's happening. You know, it was almost, it was
So it's
ridiculous. It was like a scene from a movie. It was
So it's just built
silly.
in.
It's built in. Yeah.
Man, like I said, I am super jealous, man. Because guess what? I can't find it. Look, I can't find it. I'm all over the road.
You're trying too hard.
Hey,
You gotta be like a 10-year-old.
And I think that is.
Yeah.
And I think it is. Even when I sit down on the piano, I try.
Don't think.
Hey, let me. Hey,
no.
but I know a lot of people that play piano and stuff like that, man. I am just like, every time I see like a musician, like in their, in their space, in there, and how they just move, man. Like you said, it's just like you don't even think about it. Like, it's almost like like a basketball player kind of just grabbing a ball and just doing what they do.
Yeah.
And it's always like inspiring to see, like, because everybody, you want to have that in your life, man. And that's why people, I think, look up to like the musicians. You say it's a lot easier than, you know what I mean? Like, I think people like look at these guys and they be like, wow, because they see them just do it.
Yeah.
Like,
And I found there's two types of musicians with a third amazing combination. There's people who are trying to build a brand and to be, a thing or achieve, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing. But there's another group of musicians that you find, and I was lucky enough to run into, where we are literally, it sounds crazy, but you're trying to like open some type of portal or door or just that moment that you're talking about. We've all been there, and we all, not all. I think some people don't ever get there, but like we all many of us find a way to just get there. And it's like you said, there's this moment of just absolute fluidity and just now is the only thing that matters. And
I didn't want to bring this up, right?
Go for it.
But I want to know, like, so you said that moment right there. Why is it, and you work probably with a whole bunch of musicians, why do they think that they need a foreign substance, or, like they turn to like something else to find it?
That's not the way it works.
Yeah, but it seems like that's what they're always chasing. Like,
you got the cart before the horse on that one.
Okay.
My theory. I mean, I've only been me. I've never been anybody else.
But I mean, you worked with a lot of
I worked with many,
musicians.
and I've observed it many, and I can understand it. As a musician, I watched this special that says the guy said he could put you in, and I don't remember what it was on Nova late at night. I don't sleep great. He said he could put you in a machine and tell you whether or not you're a musician just by what type of brain you have. It's a different type of brain, he theorized or said, and had some evidence. It's a different world where you grow up and you can go, and you get a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I literally just got myself the tiniest bit high, right? I felt better. I felt relaxed. I felt my brain and my body was just a little bit more,
Yeah.
And you felt it too. We all love music. We kind of all want it in the background.
Yeah.
Well, really think about being the person that can go, make sound, feel better. I do action, I feel better. I do action, I feel better. Ooh.
Yeah.
So when they don't feel good, or the first time they get exposed to really a substance, it's like, oh yeah, I know this drill. I do this, I feel better.
Oh,
I do this, I feel better. I do this. It's permanently. It's ingrained. I think in almost every true. That was air quotes for anyone not seeing musician, because I refuse to use that term. I think everyone is actually a musician.
And not just to lump musicians into that, because a lot of people chase that.
None of us will deny it. There's definitely a large overlap.
Okay.
But I think it's that I do this, I feel. So it's just already an instinctual process. And when you combine, the other thing people don't understand is the demand that they put on the musician. Or just the artist in general. We sit them down and we put them up here and we shine all these lights on there, and it's like, okay, now play. It's not even perform like an actor. It's like, we want to watch you now go have fun right now. Be in the moment now. And it's just like, whoa, I just got crappy text like 5 minutes ago, and and then this venue isn't really like doesn't look like they're gonna pay me right, or blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, now go play with the beach ball and convince. You better convince us too. Like, I don't want to make sure that you're acting. So like, that's a hard state to reliably get to, especially if you start doing regular gigs. So it can assist with that. Also, it's a great way to bond with the crowd. It's just there's so many.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So, but you had said earlier, right, when I asked like what you do for a living, you made the, what was that?
Gig economy.
Gig economy.
Yeah.
How so you're working somewhere. How do you stay motivated in album mode?
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're out here working a regular job but you're also trying to be creative at the same time. How do you balance it?
It actually works out really well. I do the ones where you get to drive around, and Discover Weekly on Spotify.
Yeah.
It's like my religion. Like that's like my job to listen to that. And I will listen because you're always looking for references and things like that. So I've learned to really enjoy that. And every delivery, every trip, every hour is just another hour of studio time where I could bring in my stems and get them to mix it.
Oh, okay.
Which is what I've really learned to do.
So how do you, so in album mode, you can listen to new music and not, you know what I mean? Like not block it out. Because I know some artists, right? So they get in this mode where they don't want to hear any outside sound. They don't want to hear, you know what I mean, anything.
Yeah, that would be an interesting way to approach it. I think that sounds terrible.
Because you love music, huh?
Yeah. Like,
he said,
how like the other day I was climbing like, oh man, that is just, it's like some kind of like clanky instrument. Like that's the sound I've been looking for on the chorus of this song for 3 years. Like these songs stick in your head for a very long time for me. And so I'll look for the correct part or the correct sound for a transition for 5-6 years.
Yeah.
I think the longest I've waited for like the right lyrics to be a hook was like 15 years.
Man, talk about let somebody cook. Boy, that's crock pot.
It wasn't right.
Nah, man, but that's an appreciation of the art though. 15 years to find the wow.
It doesn't. Everything else sounded pretentious. It was a song, and it had some heavy meaning to it. Any word I thought didn't come out right. And then my friend actually finally came up with it. I'm like, dude, thank you. I've been looking for that for 15 years. Like, yeah.
Wow.
Which is why I love collaborating so much.
So speaking of that, the patience of that, music hasn't always been easy for you. Like you said, you mentioned the growing up in the secular realm, but also too, you have had some medical or and I know it's taboo to talk about, I guess, in the industry.
It is, because you're supposed to be you can hear fantastic,
and so I don't know if it's like appropriate for me to ask, but I can see, like, you know what I mean.
I wear my hearing.
Yeah, like I can see, and I'm like,
and I wear short hair because I just
okay,
not to wear them.
All right, because like I said, I know a lot of musicians don't like to talk about it.
No, I'll talk about it.
Oh, okay,
I love it.
so let's
but I love talking about it. There was a guy, Kush Audio. He has a podcast on YouTube. If you're into audio mastering at all,
that's how you gonna plug Kush Audio on the King Penny spot. No, I'm joking. Like I'm joking. I'm totally joking with you. Like he says great.
Yeah. He admitted he's actually a super top end designer of like plugins, and he admitted he can't hear like, I think it's 6K frequency, 6K. He admitted on YouTube, like, huge title. Guess who can't hear 6K frequency? Like, this guy, people spend thousands and thousands of dollars to buy products designed by him because he says they sound good. And this guy was willing to bust it out. So, like, if he can do it, I can do it. So, like,
yeah.
And it's kind of the way we do these things that damage our hearing, and then we're not supposed to admit it when we get older.
So how did this come about?
Mine is kind of a lifelong story. It dips into that rough childhood again. It wasn't, and I didn't have the best care medically. So looking back, the first time I remember hearing difference from other people would have been around like 4th or 5th grade, but I didn't understand what it was at the time. I was getting a lot of tinnitus but I was a little kid. I thought it was normal. I thought it was maybe even a superpower. I remember being even younger than that and thinking if I looked the right direction when it turned off, that was where trouble was. So it's been,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. I had a lot of ear infections as a child that didn't get addressed. So I was on the fence already, and then I got COVID, and I got COVID before it was even being called COVID. We had some coworkers going back and forth to Asia at the time, and so we were all very, 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 very sick, and I was sick for like a month and a half, and when I was done, I had developed a really bad ear infection. When I was done, I had I could tell my hearing was very, very misbalanced, and I lost a lot of low frequencies on my right side, and now kind of permanent ringing in my ears. So there's kind of always a smoke alarm going off for me right now.
So this hasn't been like besides childhood, but it hasn't been a super long, like, distorted hearing thing.
Just in the last 2 years. Yeah. I mean, you played music too loud. I had slight hearing loss that no one even cared about. But yeah, since COVID, I now wear hearing aids and have permanent tinnitus.
It's crazy to hear you joking about it since it's so fresh. How did you? I'm sure you were forced to
I'm
accept
actually
it.
sweating while I'm making a joke because what else can you do? But
How was that acceptance? What was that radical acceptance? I guess like.
Yeah. You know the term, like, there's no such thing as a revolution, right? It's the same thing. It seems like radical acceptance now, but it was really slow and really, really deliberate. I had always put off my dream of making an album, and I'd always performed, but I had always had like my songs and like a concept album that I really wanted to make, and just wanted to, instead of playing live so much for the party and for, just travel around bar, it gets old. I wanted to make an album, and the fact for a while it seemed like I wasn't even ever going to be able to hear again, like at all. It's gotten way better, but I couldn't, if I plucked a guitar string, the hyperacusis I was experiencing, it was the most painful thing. I still can't eat with a fork. I have to eat with
Because you hear the.
I wear North Canceling headphones to put the dishes away, but I'm not here to talk about that. I opened up the subject, man. And I appreciate you even, you know what I mean? Like I said, even talking about it, period. So it's little things like that, right? So what it was I decided, well, first I just sat in a puddle and cried like a baby for about a month. No exaggeration. Like my life fell apart. I couldn't work. I can't. Like what we're doing right now, not possible. Like I couldn't, it hurt for myself to speak. So first I just sat in a puddle for like a month. And then I was about as depressed as a person can be, if you get my drift. And I decided that what would really be a failure, like if I never really accomplished something in life, like what would that thing be that really made me like, I kind of really messed up. I didn't do it. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, for me, it was like make an album. I don't know why. And that's just what it was. And I was like, you just kind of missed it. And I had always had a little studio growing up in the Strict family. I would save up some dollars and I'd go to Goodwill and buy like, the little tape recorder, the cassette tape recorder, right? And then I go down and I bought a second one and I'd stash those in the back. And then I went and secretly bought a guitar you could plug in. And so deep in the back of my closet was this two little cassette. I just play on one, and they had two microphone inputs because they were old from the 70s, and everything had a microphone input. Yeah. And so I'd go and bounce it from tape to tape and record because I just love creating tangible music. And so it was like literally my whole life I wanted to do this. I still haven't done it. And here I just always thought my hearing would be here, and later. And then here I got a really big smack upside the head of, hey, it's later now and you missed it. And I decided that I didn't want that to be true. So I decided that like a stroke victim or anyone else, I was just gonna relearn how to hear. So I bought some nice headphones and I bought some nice speakers and I set them up correctly, and I actually spent more than I probably should have seemed at the time, but I went all in, because I was like, I got to go all in.
But the hearing is there because
I slowly-
because you came in here and just started touching buttons.
Yep.
Like, hey, look here, like, because everybody gave me, especially season 1, they were on me about this soundboard thing.
Yeah.
Hey, the first thing you did, hey, hold on, what's going on? Hey,
Yeah.
started touching things, hey,
Right.
and got it crisp, got it right, man. I
Right.
appreciate that.
10 dBs at a time.
that's
So like decibel levels is, so I sat in my music room, I set them up, and I listened to music at the quietest volume I could do, and I did 20 minutes. And then I just did 20 minutes of listening to music a day at like a quiet volume. And then I just kept going until I could get to more and more. Like now you were able to talk to me on that side at that voice volume. That was impossible. So I literally just sat and slowly listened to music more and more. And I found in some ways it's actually made my hearing better. I've always had a little bit of hearing loss, wearing the hearing aids does help. And it's more, it's just you relearn how to do it. Okay. And it was pure determination.
So what would you say to anyone that's out there that's listening right now who, you know what I mean, who stalls on their dream or their, you know what I mean, or waits too long or anything like that, or who's contemplating on it? What would you tell them to, you know what I mean, what words of inspiration or advice would you give them?
It's two things. One, when I'm addressing the drink of water here.
Look at it. Well, you about to get deep. Let me go ahead. I already do the shift seat. Look, when it gets deep, hey, I'm about to take all this in. Look here.
So you kind of asked, all right, I heard two different questions.
Well, it's a whole, you know what I mean? Like, so you said you felt like the moment was passing and you wanted to do this. You know what I mean? You've always wanted to do this, but you never did. Time was getting away, and then the hearing thing happened. Now you're like, oh my goodness gracious, maybe it's. What advice would you give to somebody before they get there?
That place actually isn't a real place. It doesn't actually exist. It's not true.
So the moment on that, you don't
think
that
is not true. So like, here's what it is. Like, as a lifter, we'll use that analogy. Like, we don't measure how much someone can lift by their like lifting potential. Like they don't stand there and measure this and, oh, you have biceps this big and blah, blah, blah. So you have the potential to lift this many hundreds of pounds. No. Or, hey, you have legs like this and you're this tall and blah, blah, blah. So you have the potential to run this fast or climb this high. We measure these things by what it takes to stop you. We measure you by how much you can lift until you can't lift anymore. And I had to ask myself, is this going to be what stops me from doing that? And I every day I have to ask that, and I say, no, I don't want this to. Is this going to be the thing that stops me? Is this it? Is this how far? And I am missing some frequencies for the mixing of the songs. I always had the dream to do that too. There I had to answer yes. If you can't hear all the frequencies, no, you can't mix an album. But do you know what you do then? Then you call the local studio and you save up some money and you do your gig economy thing so that you pay them to do it so that you can do the stuff you can. Because every day it's like, is this how I'm going to be measured?
So does every day like still, or no, does doubt creep in?
Oh, every day doubt creeps in. Like, this is hard to do, and you have ringing. Some days it hurts to actually. Some days it actually hurts to do the recording.
And what's the self-talk like on those days? Like what's it like?
Is this what it's going to take to stop me? Is this how strong I am? Is this where I quit? Like is half an hour of pain really what's going to stop you from accomplishing your album?
I apologize for smiling, man, but I know, like in the gym, I know, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this is the talk.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand that that self-talk or the same things that you say to yourself translate into all walks of life, having this conversation with yourself, man. And I don't think a lot of people register that. They just think that this talk is for this space and this talk is for this space. When it's all walks of life, all, you know what I mean? Like, where
we call that person talented. It's like you have no idea what they went through at home or whatever. There's no like rich and famous contract that you sign. These are albums full of people's feelings and heartfelt things that they just threw out into the world. And yeah, there's an industry and blah, blah, blah. But you know what? In the end, like, some either overcame what it was stopping them, or that they didn't. Like, you know, it's not your potential. Like, the amount of musicians that tell me, I didn't feel good, or I can't do this. It's like, and I don't even tell them about my hearing loss and the fact that I have a smoke alarm going off. Because I like, okay, this becomes a big whine fest. Like, hey, you're either doing it or you're not, you know? Like, and so, and on the other hand, there are times, like, we all know you can push too hard and damage yourself. So, like, it's not like what I can and can't do, or I'll never do it because of this. It's, first of all, name what it is that's stopping you and decide if it's going to stop you or not. The answer is probably going to be no, or you wouldn't be there in the first place. You wouldn't be motivated to even be having that debate. And then, you know, either put the ego aside and I'm not the one that mixed the album, or you're not the greatest blank, or you're just plain whatever, and then move on to the step, because the actual point of this is the doing of it. That's the whole point. It's
pulling the trigger.
Yeah, like people get discouraged, but it's like they're prejudging what they haven't even made yet.
Exactly. So they're their own safety.
Exactly.
Because they know failure hurt, and or they seen it, or they, you know what I mean? And I tell people that all the time, man. Like, you have to kind of just hop out there and see what's happening.
You have to fail.
And
go fail hard.
Hey, man, super hard, man. I trust me. I know a lot of it, man.
Oh, man.
But the thing about it is, so
you ever play the wrong chord or sing off key in front of like thousands of people?
I'm sure. Or that scene that everybody always does. Hey, we're in Denver right now. Good night, Detroit. We're here in Denver. My bad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're on a crazy tour. I can only imagine, man, how. And then, you know, you have to relive that on social media all day, every day. It's always going to be attached to you. This guy. But no, I mean, so all that stuff, man, all the adversity come over.
Problems.
Let's talk about the moving forward.
Yeah.
What's the concept of the album?
The concept of the album is, the title of the album is 12 Notes for 7 Stories.
Okay.
For people that aren't into music theory or Western music, there's 12 notes in Western music. You know, C, whatever. And there's this really cool theory I ran across a long time ago, that there's actually only 7 stories that have ever been written. There's like Voyage and Return, Overcoming a Monster, Rags to Riches, right? There's a comedies, there's a tragedy. There's only 7 main stories that can be written. And I thought, and at that time in my life when I decided to make this concept album, I didn't have the most amount of creative energy at the time. I was, you know, barely able to hear. Yeah,
and so coming off of COVID. And
So
hey, we can talk about tragedy all day.
Yeah, I kind of need something a little. I have other albums that are about other things, but I kind of need something a little a little universal and something really to draw off of, to reconnect me with everyone. Because this was when the Capitol was getting bombed too, and it was tough times, man. It's pretty lonesome feeling times. I realized, you know, like what I'm going through isn't any different than what anyone else has gone through, just in a different way. You asked me one of my favorite guitarists in the world, Django. I think it's Django right now. I'm gonna be crucified by jazz people if I'm wrong. There's this. He apparently only had like 3 fingers on his hand. Got broken in some kind of whatever. He only had 3. He was one of the greatest guitarists of all time. He only had 3 fingers on his hand. So like, man, I can't complain. So like,
Alright.
So it was that my situation, like it's tough for everyone, and so it's equally tough, but it's equally not tough. So there's only 7 stories, and there's just 12 notes. So I kind of felt like I was handed this. I have my notes that I can use, and I want an album for everyone that kind of reties everything together, and just reminded me that what I was going through was just a different version of what just being alive is about, and it really got interesting to start writing and turn them into universal sounding songs instead of being about personally just what I'm going through. Like tragedy was tough. It's hard to write a fun little ditty about wishing you were not alive. It's an interesting challenge.
I don't know if you. I was just talking to my brother about this the other day, because he lost his foot, and so he's got up to his shin. They gave him a. One of the prosthetics and stuff like that. And just laughing with him, man, about like the first Biggie album. I don't know if you listen to rap, he got a song like "I Don't Want to Live No More."
Right.
Where he's just talking about like the worst times of his life.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? But he makes it into like the best song like ever. But it just piggybacking on like just tragedy. Like, I don't want to live no more. This is all going on around me.
Yeah.
And I hear death knocking at my front door. Like, just getting in situations after situations, man.
Yeah,
but
let's write a song that everyone that's replayable that's about wishing the world was over.
And I'm sure he never thought, like, when he made it, he was just trying to clear out his, his palate or his mind and stuff like that. Man, this is how I'm feeling today. Like, and I'm sure as an artist, man, like just to tap into that takes you back there too.
That's what it's all about, though. That's that circular thing, like, and we touched on it in a bit of we'll call it negative in the substance realm, but it works on the emotional realm and the connection realm, like by musicians that sit and the non-making a brand musicians, people who are actually trying to write songs that connect with other people. There it is again, right? Like, I felt lonely and whatever. But then I write some lyrics, or I think some songs, I write some chords that make me feel that I feel the same way as other people, and poof, I feel better again. And there's that circular, brand, it's such a strain. It's such a different.
So not to put you on the clock, right?
Yeah.
How long before the album is complete or to the point of your satisfaction? I guess that would be the, you know what I mean? Like, are you going to be more picky about, let's make sure that this is like correct and to the, you know what I mean? Like, some artists can be that way. Some artists can be, you know what I mean? Like, how long? Let's start there.
The goal right now is to have it out by the end of the year.
Okay.
For song number 1, Voyage and Return, is on Mr. Transistor on Instagram. I'll be posting that today. I'll be releasing the tracks one at a time, and then also releasing the album as a whole.
And would you mind if I throw it on the back end of this interview, like on?
Please do.
Oh, okay. Because I want people to have a clear understanding of what you're putting together.
Oh yeah, I would love it. Yeah, that's perfect.
You heard it there. We got the exclusive. Hey, boy, I've always wanted an exclusive. Got me one. Hey, look, got him, coach. Nah, man, that's super cool, man.
I'm really not. Everyone says this, but I'm really not about the commercialization of music. I find it such a strange way to think. Like, we have been, these rhythms and these chord patterns, as soon as a baby will hear them and start bumping, right?
Yeah.
And then we want to own it. And it's like, wait a minute, you're going to try to own what a 6-month-old child instinctively knows and starts rocking to, and you want to own that. Like, it's kind of like, it's like, I feel like just because you found a chord progression and put some words on top, you're acting like you're kind of like trying to patent the triangle, you know, like, or a square.
Oh, yeah, because hey, this Marvin Gaye family is undefeated. Look here. Hey, I see them. Hey, anything that sounds like what? What's going on over there? Look, what's going on over there? To every beat, bro. That's crazy. Hey, they win too. Like they win too.
No, it's not. You know, like our,
Sting.
Yeah.
Oh, Sting. Hey, he's got rich off this.
Has anyone else done the math that all of our guitar heroes were born 10 to 15 years after the electric guitar was invented? They were born the year the electric guitar was invented. They turned 10 when it was 10. Yeah, they're the first ones to hit all the little dotted frets on the way down. Like, and I'm not knocking them. Like, but you don't own. I mean, you don't own that. Like, also you know. You gotta eat.
So we're gonna put the.
I'm all about spreading it around.
So we're gonna put the first single on here, right?
Yeah.
And you said the Mr. Transistor is the Instagram. Where are you as far as performing locally?
I am really excited to start. I've had this vision of this album. When I was touring, I used to do a lot of our gigs, and I started noticing this pattern toward when I took a little break in the 2000 teens. People would come out to have a good time, and we would start playing. And while they liked the music, like anybody who wanted to have a conversation or get to know each other or anything like that, they kind of had to leave. And the music's supposed to be about bringing people together. And so I'm actually working on this project. It's a classic. The reason I had a hard time classing it earlier, it's classic rock sounding, but it's mostly electronically done, so it has a volume now, which it sounds crazy, but like restaurants, bars, coffee shops, this it's time to bring the performance back to something besides like the look at me show. You know, like it's time for a group experience, a guided group experience where like the performer themselves isn't really the star. Like,
And also too, I was talking to I have a guy that I go to music wise, like my best friend, man, Chad, man. This guy is everything music. And I was talking to him about the shelf life of music now.
Oh yeah.
Like how you probably get one spin nowadays.
Oh,
like, you know what I mean? Like people go through the album and it's just discarded.
Oh yeah.
Like there's no appreciation for because I remember back in the day we used to buy CDs.
Oh, God.
And you know, like you know, those things would just stay in rotation.
Yeah.
You know, we'd have the case and you know what I mean? Like, hey, what are we on today and stuff like that. And then the release dates for rap were like Tuesday and something else. And so, you know what I mean? Like we'd be at Best Buy or, you know, Sam Goody and right then and there. But I was like, now.
2 used CDs a week, man. I was broke kid.
Yeah, but now, well, Chad had a job. Look, he had a job back in the day. Hey, look here, we get 2 of them, and then
$8.
Hey, man, we get them all. Hey, but you know, but now like nobody has like an album like that, or people give a chance because people's attention span is like that now.
Yeah.
I heard on the analytics, man, you got 8 to 12 seconds to grab somebody's attention.
Yeah.
And that is, to me, where we are moving as a society. There is no appreciation. And people blame it on the artists.
Yeah.
But the artists are only putting out what in 8 to 12 seconds can grab. So it's almost like you know what I mean? Like, man.
The whole thing, but that's not the way to look at it. It's only, we kept saying this word, but if the goal is to have maximum exposure, then yes, that would be the way to do it. I had a 1.5-minute song pop up on my Spotify playlist the other day, and I actually really liked it. but
you're like, where the rest of
I have 2 views on this. One, I don't care. Sometimes, like, I love albums. I sit and listen to albums to this day. If I find a song I like on my Discover Weekly, I put it in there, and I will go and listen to the album. There's a lot of people like me, but maybe not. Spotify says I'm in the top 85 for variety. But anyway, it doesn't matter. That's only if you're looking for mass exposure. What I'm trying to do is make a musical experience. So I have a collection of songs that are songs of stories. And I find people do this again. If you're trying to keep their attention, then yes, you have that time. But if you're trying to create a musical moment that lasts that long, then okay, then do that. And that's what's wonderful. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Like, a lot of people feel like Spotify is holding the music industry down, or artists, but actually you used to have to pay people to go find people that listened for longer than 13 seconds.
Yeah.
Now the algorithm's going to go find other people like me, where actually I'm super into the 2-minute intro. There's a ton of us still out there, but we're not the ones going to the concerts and maybe buying that. So like, if you're trying to keep their attention, then yes. If you're trying to open like a portal or have a magical experience, which a lot of research shows musically takes like 6 to 8 minutes till you're like, and if you look at a lot of the long jams of those psychedelic like 70s and 60s songs, they're usually about that time. And like the longer like psychedelic jams, 8 to 10, 6, 8, 10 in there, you start getting commercially 3 minutes works great, and that's fine too. But you're using music differently, and we're younger, so we call it music, but that's not fair. There's recorded music, there's live music. Recorded music hasn't been around very long. Like, they were barely pulling off anything listenable 100 years ago. So like, you can watch the same movement through art, like blah 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 blah, and then blue paint that doesn't fade gets invented. And everyone paints with blue paint for like 75 years, right? And then it kind of loses its taste, and then we go back to like, a balanced color scheme. And like, I find, say, poof, dubstep. We finally have enough computing power to make something synthetic and listenable. Well, then we have this whole genre explosion, and people are like, oh, I love, hate that, blah blah blah. Well, it's just a new color, like, so like.
So how do you balance, like, so you're the only cook right now in the kitchen, right? Are you looking to be in a band? Are you looking to, add people or add, so what is it that you're looking for?
To create an experience.
Okay. And so you're looking for, I'm in my mind, you're functional in everything that needs a band, right? Yeah. So in my mind. So outside of that, what are you looking like? Are you looking for a drummer? Are you looking for a guitarist? Are you looking for a singer?
Yep.
So what? I'm lost.
I know. Yes, because the songs need to be created. I actually would prefer to not be the singer, but the song needs to be created, or else it will sit there forever. And so that is the tool that I have today to keep recording or making the song that's in my mind or needs to be created. Again, is not having like the best voice gonna stop me, or not having a friend that can sing really well is that gonna be what stops me today? And the answer has to be no. So I plug in the microphone and I sing, and if I have to change the key, I have to change the key. And if I don't sing it super great, well, then I'm sorry, listener. That was the best that I had that day.
And that's what we had on the day. I tell people all the time, that's who showed up.
Exactly.
It's me.
Exactly, because the art needs to be created. Someone claiming to interview, I'm blanking on the name right now. Banksy, the famous street artist Banksy. Yeah. Someone claimed to interview him. And in this claimed interview, it doesn't matter if it was him or not. It was a great quote. And they said, how do you decide what to do and all this? And he said, making art for the purpose of it being famous is like choosing or serving people food for how they'll go to the bathroom the next day.
Oh, wow. Like, let's say that one more time. No, because that's crazy.
Yes, making art for the purpose of like people like consuming it or being popular is like making food or choosing your diet for the way you'll go to the bathroom the next day.
Oh, that's nuts.
It's an inevitable result. People will or won't like it.
Yeah.
They will or won't, but that's not it.
Yeah.
Like, it's the experience. If I meet someone who sings into that microphone and we do the experience, then hell yeah, they're in the band. And what is the band? Like I was extremely lucky, and I ran across some friends when I first got out of that childhood, and they had this thing called it wasn't open mic, it was open jam. And it was totally different. I walked in and I had my whatever songs I thought I was going to rock out, and I thought I was going to, and I was going to have a band that played this kind of music, and I walked up and they're like, hey man, how's it going? This is about that fast. It's blah, 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 E, change over here, about third, ready, 1, 2, 3, go, boom.
Yeah.
And you were playing.
Yeah.
Like, you're in front of people. The song has now started, bum, bum, da. It was actually happened to be a Pink Floyd song, Young Lust, but I was just like, whoa. And it was the first time I had been exposed to the concept of music being more like a spiritual event than a show of who's playing it. Like, when you do it right, not right, as in like perfect, when, in my opinion, or I've experienced, when I'm doing it right, there just becomes this channel of just almost like from above or beyond, and you're just radiating it, and things slow way down, and everyone stops watching the band, and they start dancing around, and you know a lot of people in the crowd, all their personal problems, and you can see that is not on their mind.
The weight comes off.
Oh, the only thing that matters is the next beat. And if you keep going and keep going, I've never had a runner's high. I'm not motivated enough there for that. But like, if you keep going and keep going, this beat that's like this, and you're just in this big jam, all of a sudden, like, it's cliche, but it's like in the movies, I swear. It just becomes like... And you look over at your friend that you're playing with, and they're in the same zone. And you can just... This thing that was super complicated, you'll add little extra like twiddle-dee-dee, and they'll like next measure around, twiddle-dee back, and you're just all looking at each other like, who's even playing this? And no one can answer. And what was that? And no one knows. And
we should have recorded this or the thought like later on down the line. Like,
yeah, you know what? And it may or may not even sound good on the recording because that.
But the moment was the moment.
That's a different medium, right? And that's my point. Like, recorded music was new in the 20s, and then we invented these electric instruments, and then we really figured out how to record it in the 70s, 80s. You can debate when it got really great, but it sounded pretty good. And so that was the new art, and now we've come to this point where it's a commodity. It's played in the background of every restaurant, everywhere, all the time. So you got a brand. It's no different than corn. You got to be like the Green Giant brand of corn, which is actually they just buy up all the corn and put the Green Giant bag. If you get a successful brand, congratulations. But you got to be like the farmer who just like really loves growing corn.
Yeah, because that's where the flavor is.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like somebody who loves.
And I'd love to have a professional farmer associate, and I'd love to have a person with a 8-octave range, and all of those people are completely welcome.
Well, I want to tell you, man, Roger, man, I like I said, man, I appreciate you, man, taking the time, man, because you musicians, man, when you guys get you guys get the riffing about, like, you know what I mean, with the passion and stuff like that, man. And like I said, talking about like the hearing and talking about the childhood, man, I know it wasn't expected, and like I said, my bad about that, man. But I'm trying to tell you, man, the passion and then the hunger to fight through, man. That's what this podcast is about, man. I created this to motivate people, to uplift people, man. And you exemplify, man. That's why I wanted to have you on episode 1, man, of season 2 to, rekindle the viewership and let them know for sure, man, this is what we're about, motivating, man. And people overcoming things and people pushing through hardships and difficulties, man, and being the best possible them, regardless of how it's accepted or regardless of, man, pushing to goals is Nah, man, you definitely did it, man.
Amazing goal.
And like I said, like, your appreciation for music, man, speaks volumes, man, to who you are as a person, man. So, like I said, I'm gonna throw the single on the back end of this.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely, man. So, where is it that people can reach you at? Like,
right now, you can find me on Instagram at mr.transistor.music.
Okay.
And also, you can find me Roger Dinardi on Instagram.
Soon to come.
Soon to come.
He said soon to come. He's hoping ain't another Roger out there.
When I was going through this, I totally dropped out of social media.
Okay.
I had to full
Yeah.
reset, so I'm getting it back together.
All right, man. And like I said, man, I'm gonna put all that at the bottom of this, man. If there's anything, last words or anything you want to say, man, or
Just don't quit, like again, every day, ask remember you're measured by what it took to stop you, and just honestly ask, is this, and then phrase it, gonna stop me, and then just honestly answer.
man, I appreciate it, man. And like I said, your sincerity and passion, man, and it's contagious, man. And I'm trying to tell you, I'm gonna talk to you here in a bit, man. Hey, thank you guys for joining in episode number 1. Also, too, I brought my brother's personal life up in this. I know he's upset with me, but too, you go ahead and keep on pushing through, man. I'm proud of you, man. I love you very much, man. And everybody who's supporting him, Gerard, P, everybody, man, love you guys. Thank you, Roger, man, for coming, man. Let you get back to the studio. Look, thank you for fixing the soundboard. Look, hopefully it stays that way. But if not, hey, we'll call Roger. We know who to call now, man. Hey, Roger, King Penny, man, we're out of here, man. Hey, you guys take it easy. Roger that.
Wake up without sleep, locked within the lifetime. Called today, do not fear the fire, or let them douse the future with yesterday. Few will climb the mountain, others will not try or ever learn. Journey eyes wide open, it's all just a voyage and return. You can see the lightning, come on, hear the thunder calling out. It beckons like a beacon, it sings out like a sine wave, soft and loud. The echoes that are in you, well, some of them will shine while others burn. Journey eyes wide open, it's all just a voyage and return. Stories have been written, no matter if you sing or if you squirt. Journey eyes wide open, it's all just a voyage and return.